The Digital Photography Cafe show is brought to you by Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool for your camera, and by Mosaic, your Lightroom photos automatically on every device and backed up, and by ShootProof, the easy way to proof and sell your photos online.
Welcome to the Digital Photography Cafe show. Join hosts Trevor Curran and Joseph Christina as they chat about the art and business of photography.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 88. I'm Joseph Christina here with my co-host Trevor Curran. On last week's show, we talked about some hot new products from CES. If you haven't watched last week's show, I encourage you to do so. You can find it at our website, digitalphotographycafe.com, in iTunes, listen through the popular Stitcher and TuneIn radio apps, and now watch on your HD TV through TiVo.
So Joe, we are back. How you doing, my friend?
How are you doing? We are back. We are here.
Yes, we are here. Aches and pains and everything to go along with it, right?
Yes. Yeah, my neck is cricked. I'm like a mess. How about you?
Yeah, well, the same problem. I mean, back over the summer, I had that pinched nerve in my neck and did the whole physical therapy thing for a while. And now, the winter, the cold up here, everything kind of tightens up. You kind of are in the house, you're not moving and doing a whole lot, and now my neck's
I think we're just getting old.
Well, yeah, there's that.
Things are just starting to break, I think.
That's right.
I tell you what, we sit in front of these computers for hours. I mean, for me, I'm editing images, doing, layouts and stuff, all kinds of stuff, and just sitting in front of the computers for hours on end. And it just takes a toll. I know back, we have to find the episode, but we talked about these stand-up workstations where you're just standing instead of sitting. And I'm sure everyone watching, they'll see that I'm still sitting in this chair. It's killing me, but I need to make the move. And now that, it's the new year, it gives me something to say, well, I need to get it done and just finally do it. Yeah.
Well, I did do it. As you all know, I've moved into new office space. And the last couple of shows that we did, I was at the desk and kind of had the background darkened down and everything. Well, I kind of created a new space in the corner of the office here, and now I'm able to do it standing up. I built that stand-up workstation, and I have a nice pedestal kind of tabletop thing that I'm working at. I've got the monitor, the computer all set up. The mic and everything is all kind of in one nice area now, and you'll probably notice that the lighting is a little bit different. I got a kind of a gray background now instead of a black background, but I tell you, it's actually nice standing up. It does make you really think about your posture and, that whole head up, shoulders back, military type of thing. But, that really is where the problem lies that we all face with our necks. We're so used to like hunching over, leaning into the monitor. And that is what my problem was. And that's what pinched my neck. So I'm hoping if I can spend a little bit of time at this workstation throughout the day, maybe that will help alleviate some of the problems that I have. Yeah,
we don't want to end up with like carpal tunnel or some type of neck problem or, I tell you what, this, it's a repetitive stress deal where, especially like when you're sitting at a desk and, you're mousing around for hours on end. And it just, it hurts everywhere. I mean, from shoulders to, your wrists to everything, and just being able to stand up. Number one, it helps you, like you said, with your posture. You burn calories. I mean, all kinds of stuff from standing. It's really good for you. So we found some really amazing stand-up workstations, and you guys really need to take a look at that show, because that show we had a bunch of links and we kind of went through them and discussed which were good and how they were good and what they did different than other ones. And then we broke down some pricing too. So definitely, guys, go take a look.
Yeah, we'll put a link in the show notes for that. And, there was a couple really expensive options and a couple not so bad. But you remember that one? It was like
really comical, some comical options.
Yeah,
right?
There was this one. It was like a treadmill with a built-in tabletop workstation.
That's the one.
I'm thinking, wow, I don't know. Could I actually walk and do retouching, do illustration? I don't know. But
I don't know. Yeah, I did that. That was kind of cool. I don't know, a workstation on a treadmill. I don't get it, but who knows? I guess it depends on what type of work you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyways, guys, I tell you what, we have a really good packed show coming up here. We're going to be revisiting back in show 82 and 83. You were talking about these 3 steps to engaging your customers, and you kind of broke it down for us. And 82 and 83 was part of it, and we have the third part this week. So I tell you what, guys, stay tuned. We have a lot of good stuff coming up here. But hang in there for a moment while we go ahead and hear from one of our sponsors.
Are you frustrated with slightly out of focus images when you know your autofocus spot was dead on? It's simply not your fault. From manufacturer to manufacturer, and even lens copy to lens copy, there are slight variances to the exact spot where light is being focused onto the sensor. Finally, there's a product that allows you to compensate for those variances and make sharper images immediately. Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool, is an absolute must for every photographer. If you want to make the sharpest images possible, then you need to take control over your camera's focusing system. With the Focus Pyramid, you can calibrate all of your lenses on your lunch break. The Focus Pyramid makes lens calibration quick and easy at an affordable price. So give your lenses a new lease on life and take your photography to the next level. Head over to focuspyramid.com/DPC and get an additional 10% off just for being a show listener. Okay, so Joe, we are back. And yeah, as you mentioned on episode 82 and 83, we were talking about how to wow your customers through engaging marketing. And this was based off an article from Social Media Examiner. And we'll put a link in the show notes so you guys can go read that article again in case you missed it in episode 82 or 83. But it was really all about how to deliver a great customer experience and reviewing every part of your business from the customer's perspective. So really kind of stepping back, and really trying to, separate yourself as the owner of the business and really looking at it to see what your customers see. And
that was one of the things that we discussed, I think in the last show of the year was, take some time that when the new year kind of rolls around to stop and look at your business from top to bottom, really analyze it and kind of take a different perspective and look at it as your client looking in at you guys and seeing, what kind of experience are you giving them? What kind of engagement is going on between you and them and whatnot. So, that was from the last show.
Right. So we're going to continue today, and we're going to be talking about how to entice your customers to keep in touch with you. And this is really a kind of a key part of this whole of marketing and building this relationship with your customers. After you've made this great impression, after you've wowed the customer, after you've shown them that you really, you have it down, you need to stay in touch with them, because really, finding new customers ongoing is difficult. You really want those repeat sales. You really want that repeat business. So that way, staying in touch with them kind of keeps you top of mind. And even if they don't need your services right now, they may, come the holidays, they want some new portraits, or, a new baby into the family, or somebody's getting married. You want to be the one that they think of when it comes time for a photographer. You don't want them to go elsewhere.
Absolutely. And social media and email is by far the best way to do it.
Absolutely. Social media is basically free to use, and it's a great way of staying in contact with them. Facebook is probably the #1 channel that I would recommend, obviously for the photo sharing opportunities there. Just staying connected with them through there. It's very easy. Twitter is a great way to interact. But Twitter really has changed a lot, right? It's really becoming more of the broadcast mechanism now, as opposed to a two-way interaction, which is kind of sad, but it's just the way things change.
Yeah, it's just the nature of the beast. People are just putting out just a ton of content on a regular basis. And, just like you said, that interaction is just not necessarily there. For me, getting a DM, getting a direct message, used to mean that, okay, I'm going to have a conversation with someone. Now, it's...
Have you seen this picture of you?
Have you seen this? Yeah. Or just some bogus something.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And email marketing is still really big. For those who say, don't waste your time with email marketing. I mean, we've said this repeatedly on past shows. I don't agree with that at all. Email marketing is still a very viable channel to use. Everybody checks their email. They are more leery about it because of spam, but they do definitely go through it.
I tell you what, spam is becoming a little bit more controllable or controlled, via Gmail and a lot of other services out there that weren't around when, I was getting 1,000 pieces of spam a day, crazy amounts back in the, with the software days when, but the whole idea is people are starting now look at their email a little bit differently, and they're actually checking it. Now, of course, they're leery, but like you said, email is still very important, just like physical mail is still very important. To get that little card in the mail, get that physical piece of paper with your name on it. People still look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. They do. Direct mail still does work. It's more expensive though. And that really does take a chunk out of your marketing budget. But, the free avenues, share, your blog posts with your community, write about things that are relevant to your audience. If you're going to be at an event or there's an activity or something going on in your area, be a part of that, advertise that, talk about that, especially if you're actually going to be there. Maybe you're going to be doing some photography work there or whatever, like a craft fair or a fundraiser, even like a school function. I mean, there's so many things that go on there. So share information about these different events. You may not necessarily want to share photography how-to tips, and because that really is not relevant to the people who you're hoping will hire you to shoot their images.
Exactly. Share the things that are relevant to those people, because just like you said, you send out a how to shoot a specific picture or whatnot. With so many photographers want to share their skill set with everyone, but the problem is, unless you're an educator or something and you're trying to find the lay folk that are out there to hire you, they really don't want to know how you shoot or what you do or what you don't do with a 50mm lens. So
exactly. They are happy to look at your imagery that you create, but they don't really want to know about the technical how-tos.
Yeah, and talking about, these different fundraisers that you're talking about and different local activities, it just shows that you are basically involved with your community, so it's definitely positive all the way around.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So anyways, good stuff. There's more to come. We're going to be kind of covering something about, engaging the people, which, it's very, very important. Engagement is probably number one. But I tell you what, before we get into that, let's go ahead and hear from one more of our sponsors.
From phones, tablets, laptops, and PCs, these days photographers use multiple internet-connected devices.
Have you ever wished you could view your Lightroom images, folders, collections, and metadata from any of these devices? Now you can.
Mosaic Storage Systems has created Mosaic View, an application that gives you access to your images without exporting or using a publishing service.
Mosaic also offers Mosaic Archive, which directly integrates with Lightroom as a powerful cloud backup solution.
Mosaic gives photographers access to all of their images from anywhere on virtually any device.
Try Mosaic View today for free and access 2,000 of your most recent images.
As a Digital Photography Cafe viewer, Mosaic is offering a 20% discount off any of their premium plans.
Go to mosaicarchive.com and use coupon code DPC at checkout.
Mosaic. Lightroom, anywhere, any device, secure, backed up. All right, so Joe, we've enticed the customer to keep in touch with us, but now that they've opted in to receive our emails or they've connected with us in social media, we need to give them a reason to stay connected, to stay engaged with us. And we need them to take action. So that's where it really, this is where the two-way conversation you kind of want to start, whether you're actually talking one-on-one with somebody or you're talking one-on-many, but you want to share the type of content that will create that interaction, like Facebook likes or comments or shares. Even if you have let's say a PDF ebook, not about how to shoot images, but maybe you wrote a review about some local catering halls or something. And maybe it's something geared towards a bride or something like that. You know, you're creating this engagement, you're promoting it, you're talking about it, you're getting them to sign up for it, you're getting them to download it. That's all interaction.
I tell you what, we had a really smart local photographer that did weddings, and what he did is he created a PDF that had basically all of the venues in the local area that he's been to, and it's probably been all of them.
Yeah, sure, sure.
As they shooting the weddings, and he kind of like rated them, but gave a little dissertation on how it was, how was the service, how were they towards photography and the photographer themselves, and the whole 9 yards, and how did it turn out for the bride? Because as photographers, we get firsthand knowledge from the bride right after the wedding, a week after, when we're talking to them, looking at pictures to put into a book or whatnot. We hear how the venue was. So, what the photographer has to say is valuable. So an ebook from you, the photographer, to a bride or to all brides local, they will eat that up. That is good quality information.
Sure, absolutely. That's good stuff. And again, when you engage with these people and you get them to download your content, to view your content, it builds you as this authority, this expert, somebody that they want to turn to hire for their weddings or for their portrait sessions. It keeps you top of mind. Another way to do it, which is really great, you see this all the time, is online contests and giveaways.
Absolutely.
As photographers, what can we give away that's really going to cost us minimal money, right? So maybe you give away a portrait session, you give away an engagement session. If you have the right group of people that you're connected with that would be interested in that, it's a great prize for them. And you could even take it one step further. Maybe you give something away like an iPad mini, something that costs you a couple $100, but it's coming out of your marketing budget, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, giveaways always work well.
Yep.
As people always want to get something. But yeah, so anything that you can give away that, obviously an iPad mini or an iPad or something like that, that's a big chunk of money. But if you can give your time away,
absolutely,
they'll be more than happy to take that also. And, you do, let's say, a shoot. Maybe you do an on-location shoot, so you're actually going to them. Maybe it's a beach shoot or whatever. You're doing that. You're giving away that time, but as long as you know that your imagery is going to be exceptional, it's going to be stellar, it's going to be fantastic. Chances are they'll probably buy something after the fact, anyways, which will cover all that time regardless. So it'll end up being a wash, and you've really kind of put it out there, and a lot of people see you and. It's the goodwill out there also.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It really does. Online participation really does translate into offline engagement, which translates into money. So you need
it's dollars. That's right.
It translates into money. So you need to really create that interaction. You really need to try different things. I know we've been experimenting with stuff on Facebook, and it's been working. We're really building our engagement level back up. And it's not, you can do it. You definitely can do it. It takes a little bit of time, but you can do it. That really needs to be part of your overall marketing. So,
absolutely.
We'll have a link in the show notes to back to episode 82, 83. You can hear the rest of our conversation about it. I'll also have a link in there for the article that this originated from, and kind of put the photography spin on it. So definitely check the show notes for those.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff as always. So I tell you what, before we go any further, let's go ahead and hear from one more of our sponsors.
As photographers, we're always trying to increase sales and profits after every event.
We shoot an event and have hundreds or even thousands of images that just sit on our hard drives.
Perhaps a better workflow would increase sales by getting those valuable images in front of the client.
That's where ShootProof comes in. At shootproof.com, you can have an online gallery for all of your clients' proofing needs.
ShootProof helps increase profits while building your brand and securing your photos without charging commission fees on sales.
ShootProof galleries display your photos beautifully while helping to streamline your workflow and automate more of your business through their intuitive studio control panel.
Once approved, photos can be directly fulfilled through ShootProof's various professional lab partners or fulfilled by you.
All ShootProof plans have the same feature set. You simply choose the number of client photos stored, decide what products to sell, and the price.
Try ShootProof today by taking advantage of their free 30-day trial offer.
As a Digital Photography Cafe viewer, ShootProof is offering a 20% discount off any of their premium plans by using promo code DPC20 at checkout.
ShootProof. Upload, share, sell, print. So Joe, I saw you had a cool branding portrait session this week. I saw a photo you posted up on Facebook there. It looked kind of fun.
Yeah. Back to the branding portraiture. I absolutely love branding portraiture. I'm a big fan. I'm a commercial photographer, kind of by trade or at heart, but I like portraiture and I just like branding.
Right.
Being able to say who someone is in a single shot, that type of thing, to me is extremely fulfilling, rewarding. It's not an easy thing to do. It's a serious undertaking.
Yeah.
But it kind of gets me, my juices flowing, but it also kind of, it teaches me to kind of stop shooting, stop talking, and just simply just listen to the client, because that's sometimes the hardest thing for me to do, and I'm sure a lot of you guys the same way. Sure. You get in there and you see like 1,000 different looks, and you want to do 1,000 different poses and all of this stuff, and it's like a whirlwind, and sometimes you just need to just stop.
Yeah, it's easy to get wrapped up in our own creativity and our own ideas. And then before you know it, you're really not listening to the client and what their needs are anymore. And you're kind of just blowing through. You're banging out a lot of pictures that potentially they may not be happy with.
Right. So, when doing branding portraiture, for example, actually taking the time to get to know the client that's definitely mission critical, because that's going to help you to kind of, in your mind, decide how you want them to be portrayed in the picture.
Right.
It's not easy, but like we're talking about, you just step back and listen, and just kind of close the mouth for a little bit. You'll get a lot. And a lot of times it's not exactly what the client is saying, but it's, how they're saying it. Trev,
well, sure.
the
their energy will come out in the conversation. I mean, if somebody is a little more laid back in their conversation, a little more conservative, then you may want to take more of a conservative posing approach, conservative clothing, conservative lighting and stuff. But if somebody's a little bit more energetic and upbeat, and that's just really their personality, and that's the way they want to be perceived, then that changes everything on how you want to shoot them. You want to shoot them, maybe they're smiling, maybe laughing, a lot more energy to them. And and if you don't really take the time to listen and get to know your client a little bit more, you're not going to get any of that.
Yeah, I think one of the, I watch a lot of, I train and I do, different lessons and seminars and what type of, different types of things, and training new photographers. And one of the, I think the main thing that people do, that they just, they get this idea that, never look at the back of the camera, just go and shoot, and you'll know that you really know what you're doing. And back in the old days, we couldn't, look at the back of the camera.
Right.
Now that, you shouldn't do that. I'm kind of opposed to that. And I tell you why, because, let's say you're doing a shoot and, things are going well, and you're kind of, it seems like you're feeling like you're hitting on all cylinders and everything's great. Well, if you didn't take a look at the back and you see that, oh my God, this is definitely not what I want, right. Or, oh my God, this is not their right side. The other side looks so much better. They look better with this type of angle or whatever. We have the luxury, we have the ability to look at the backs of these cameras. Just simply do it. Don't believe in all of this nonsense that, don't chimp on the back and say, oh, look at this, look at that.
Right.
No, I think completely opposite. Chimp on the back. Say, let's say you're in between wardrobe changes. Once they come out, say, okay, let's take a look at a couple of shots. Preferably, if you have a method, like we have like a big screen TV and we can actually pump the stuff up there, well, that makes it easy.
Sure.
But if not, let them look at the back of your camera. Say, okay, so look at these. And you might look at a set of like 20 or 30 of them and say, kind of looking at this, I really like this downward angle. It just really flatters you, or whatever.
Right.
Or do you see how you're smiling here just a little bit, but not
all teeth.
Right.
The ones with all teeth, not so much. And when they look at it, like, oh, okay, I get it. So now instead of getting 200 more pictures that are basically crap, you will actually be able to take another 20 or 30 pictures, but they're going to be good because now you know what is working and what is not. And they know what is working and what is not. It's important.
It really is important. You need to get the client involved. You need to get them looking at it. It's a sense of accomplishment for them as well. I mean, they really get to feel like, oh, wow, okay, I see what we're doing together here, because it is a two-person project. You know, it's the photographer,
Absolutely.
It's the subject. You know, there's a quote, there's always two people in every picture, you know, the photographer and the subject. And that's totally right. I mean, you need that interaction with them. You need them to get involved. And like you had said about finding their right side, you know, sometimes people that aren't in the spotlight, that don't, you know, need headshots for, you know, modeling agency or what have you, you know, they're just looking to get some nice pictures taken and stuff. They don't know about a good side and a bad side. They don't know that they got a wicked cowlick on the side of their head. You know, they don't know necessarily, they're not aware of all of this stuff. And you as a photographer really need to be aware of it. And if you see something that doesn't look quite right, or it doesn't, you know, flatter them, you know, you need to tweak the angle a little bit, change things up a little bit. You know, like, you know, a big pose, you know, turn sideways and look over your shoulder. You know, me, I can't do that. I've got a wacky eye thing going on, you know, and my eye off, one eye this way and one eye that way. I'm all jacked up.
That wouldn't look too good.
You know, no, I'd be like, you know, giving you the stink eye or something, you know. It's like,
be like, will you look at me?
Yeah, over here.
I am looking at you.
My eye doesn't move that way. So, you know, I mean, so for me, I can't do something like that. I mean, that just doesn't work for me. And I know that. So I would tell the photographer, okay, I can't do that. But, you know, there's so many people that just don't know their own bodies. They don't know themselves. They don't know what looks good, what doesn't look good. I mean, models, you know, they don't just learn how to pose just, you know, wake up one morning and, oh, I'm going to do that. They practice these poses, you know, and it was funny too, actually, when we were on the fashion shoot a while ago. And a couple of the models were standing there, and they're like looking in the mirror, and they're making all these faces, and they're doing these pouty lips and, you know, all this stuff. And I'm kind of looking and I'm thinking, what the hell are they doing? You know? Why? And the one girl looks over at me and she says, oh, I'm practicing.
Yeah.
You know, and it seemed kind of funny to me, but I'm like, yeah, you know, that makes sense.
Yeah. And I mean, they know, you know, when we work with just the general, you know, just some, you know, folks off the street, it's a different thing altogether. But when we work with models, we can actually explain to them, listen, okay, we want this specific look. We need you to be in character with this going on in your mind. And so what happens is, if we tell a model, listen, I need you to be thinking about this, you know, X, Y, and Z, they know as soon as they start thinking about that, that kind of translates into face, into body.
Yeah.
It translates, it completely comes out. And those thoughts come out in the image.
Right.
So, you know, I can't really, you know, talk too deeply, you know, with just someone that just comes in to do a portrait. But with models, you know, we get pretty serious because we need something specific, let's say for a cover of a magazine, and, you know, the editors want this specific thing, or let's say the fashion designer wants this specific look. You know, we really need to be able to get them into character.
Yeah, come on. You turn into quickly. Austin Powers, don't you?
It gets, yes.
Come on, baby, kind of work crazy. That camera.
That's exactly right. That's right. Well, I tell you what, you know, so many people, they think that, you know, photography is set up where it's like kind of like baking a cake. You know, you come in there, you know, you put in all the same ingredients, all the same number of ounces and grams and pounds of sugar and whatever, and you end up with this amazing cake every single time. You get these people that do lighting that way. Right. Every single time.
All
everything
the lighting's
is the same, and everything is just so generic. It's horrible. But the truth of the matter is, you know, photography is not like baking a cake. It changes with every single person, with every single picture, and with every single set of lighting that's going on, from ambient to flash. So, you know, it's not baking a cake. Everything is always changing. It continuously changes. And as soon as you figure that out and you get away from this, you know, this nice, everything is nice and comfortable in this little zone, you really do yourself a favor for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, this portraiture is not really my thing, but I definitely can respect the photographers who do it, because it really, there's a lot that goes into it. And if you're not putting enough into it, you're just really, you're not going to get anything out of it. All of your stuff is going to look the same. So anyway, great stuff, Joe. It's always nice hearing about these shoots that you do, and you always have something really good to pull from it. And it's great to be able to share it with
a lot of fun.
It is with the community.
Hopefully someone gets some good info out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I do all the time. So
all right, we need to get out.
Yes, we do. So Joe, if people want to connect with you, where's the best place to go?
They can find me on Twitter. You can find me at Joseph Christina, and that's Christina without an H.
Yes, we love Twitter. You can connect with me on Twitter. It's at Trevor Current.
Love it. Good. So, all right, folks, I tell you what, we are out of here. So listen, don't forget, you can get all of our show notes, including this week's show notes, this week's episode, by simply going over to our website, digitalphotographycafe.com/88. That's going to be the new thing. You'll be able to do / and the episode number and get all of the show notes from that specific week. Good stuff. So anyways, I tell you what, keep your questions and comments coming, and we'll talk to you next week.
You've been watching the Digital Photography Cafe show with Trevor Current and Joseph Christina. Be sure to subscribe to the show for free in iTunes or through RSS. You can also listen on Stitcher and TuneIn Radio and watch in HD on TiVo. Visit digitalphotographycafe.com for show notes and to connect with your hosts.